Hey guys, welcome back to Dede's Mediterranean Kitchen. Today I'm going to be making a dish that's not traditionally Mediterranean, it's actually a Gulf dish. It's called Kabseh. Now, this involves rice, some vegetables, and either lamb or chicken. If you don't like lamb and you don't like chicken, you can use beef, you can use turkey, you can use whatever you want to make it your own dish. You can get this recipe and all of my other recipes at www.DedeMed.com. Don't forget to join my social network. You'll have a lot of fun. And if you need any of the spices in this video or ingredients in any of my videos, check my store link on my website and you can just order your stuff from there. I'm going to go over all of the ingredients we need and then I'm going to show you how to put them together. What we're going to need is about 1.5 cups of chopped tomato. It's actually one whole tomato, but it turned out to be about 1.5 cups. 2 cups of chopped onions. I have 1/2 cup of white raisins that I soaked in some water just so that they're a little bit more moist. We're going to use this for garnish. We're also, for garnish, we're going to use some slivered almonds, pistachios, and some pine nuts. We're going to toast these all up and put them on top. I have 2 cups of long grain rice. This is Uncle Ben's rice. It's amazing for this dish because it always turns out fluffy. I also have some yogurt here. We're going to serve it with some yogurt. The spices we need for this, I have 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I have a tablespoon of ground coriander. I have about 10 cloves. I have 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/2 teaspoon of 7 spices, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. I also have a chicken that I pre-cooked with in a pot with water. I had 1/2 onion in here, 2 cinnamon sticks, 2 bay leaves, and 1 teaspoon of water. And I pre-cooked the chicken. I'm going to take it apart and put it on top. I also have some butter and some water. And I'm going to show you how to get this all done. Now, I'm going to empty the rice into a large bowl because I'm going to actually rinse the rice and then I'm going to mix it with all of the seasoning. Now, the reason why I'm going to do that is because I want the rice to get nicely coated with the seasoning, and then while I'm prepping all the other ingredients, it actually starts to absorb some of the flavors from the seasoning. So just rinse this in some water. Just give it a quick rinse. Pour off the excess water. Don't lose too much of the rice while you're doing this. I know sometimes you do. Sometimes I do. It's okay. So I have the rice there. See, it's nice and rinsed. I'm going to pour in all of the seasoning. And I know some of you are probably thinking, why is she mixing the seasoning in now? Some people put the seasoning in when they actually cook the rice in the pot. Now, I also want to talk about why I'm making a Gulf dish while this is a Mediterranean food show. The reason is a lot of the countries along the Mediterranean actually serve this dish. It's very popular. There are a lot of different variations of this dish. Some people put carrots, some people put peas, some people, use lamb, some people prefer chicken. It's pretty much a rice dish with seasoning and vegetables. That's the main purpose and the main point of this dish. So I mix it all up just like that. I'm just going to set this to the side while we get Okay, we have a nice big pot. You want to use a nice big pot because you're going to put the rice in this and we're going to cook it all up. So I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of olive oil and about 1 tablespoon of butter. We're going to add the onions and the tomatoes until they all cook down. I'd say probably about 5 to 8 minutes. Well, let's just shoot for 10. Stir it up, let it go until the vegetables have cooked down and the tomatoes have cooked down. Give it a little stir every couple minutes. Okay, so we see here that the tomatoes and the onions have cooked down. Now remember, when you pick a tomato for cooking something like this, you want to make sure it's a really ripe tomato. You don't want to cook anything that's green or really too firm because it won't cook down as well and the flavors aren't as developed. So to this we're going to add our rice. We're going to just fry up the rice a little bit before we add the chicken broth to cook it up. All the rice in there. Remember to turn down the heat, keep it on medium-low. I think mine's a little too high. Different ovens are different. Let it go for a minute. I'm going to bring my chicken broth over. And when I cook the chicken, I want to show you, I did use 2 sticks of cinnamon, half onion, 2 bay leaves, and a teaspoon of salt. I put the chicken, I used 2 chicken thighs with the bone and 2 chicken drumsticks. I put some water, I let it cook for an hour, hour and 15 minutes until the chicken is very tender. The bone is great for the broth. When you want a nice very broth, make sure you always bone. So we're going to add, for every cup of rice, we want 2 cups of moisture. So here is 1, 2. Now don't forget this has cinnamon in it, so it's going to add even more flavor to the seasoning that was already in the rice. 3, we're going to have 4, there's 4. Just like that. If you want, you can taste the broth now to make sure that the seasonings are good. So I'm just going to grab a spoon. Perfect. You're going to let this come to a boil, and as soon as it comes to a boil, we're going to heat to low, and we're going to let this cook for about 40 to 45 minutes. Give it a stir after 20 minutes, and let it go for another 20 minutes, and then we'll check in on it. I'm going to put some butter on top of this. Now, if you want to use brown rice, you can use brown rice. Traditionally, it's made with Uncle Ben's or long grain rice. But if you want to eat the butter, you don't have to use the butter. You can just use, and you can use extra vegetables. That way, you can make the dish a little bit more healthy. So you see here, it's coming to a boil. We're going to turn it down, and then just cover it. We're going to brown 40 minutes or toast our nuts and raisins right now. And some butter. I have about 1.5 tablespoons of butter in here. Butter just makes everything better. But then again, if you're on a diet, you can't have butter. You can use some olive oil. You can even dry toast these in the oven or in a toaster oven for a few minutes until they're nice and brown. So just like that. Add our nuts to it. And you want to keep a close eye on these because guess what? These toast up really fast. So as soon as they toast up, I'm going to throw in the raisins. Don't add the excess water. Just like that. On medium heat. You want to keep stirring them so they get an even color. You don't want one side toasted more than the other. They're all nice brown toasted up. And they have a wonderful smell. They're going to have a great nutty flavor, even the raisins. We're going to put these on the side and we're going to put these on top of our rice when we're ready. So it's been 40 minutes. I turned off the heat on my rice. I fluffed it up a little. I let it sit for another 10 minutes so that the rice really fluffed up. Remember, I toasted my nuts and my raisins. And I have my chicken that I pulled apart. Deboned it, took out all the bones and the skin, and now it's just nice lean chicken. It's amazing. If you want to use chicken breast, you can use chicken breast. I like to use the thighs for this dish because they're really moist and they just go great. So let's plate this up. See this. Look at the rice, how nice and fluffy it is. You want to use a nice large dish if you're plating this up for a large number of people because you want to decorate it very nicely. Now the cloves that are in here, it's okay. I mean, you can eat the cloves because they're very tender. If you know your guests like, they can pull them out. If you want to warm them, you can warm them. Just like that. I mean, the smell from this dish, the seasoning is just amazing. Spread that out like that. Next, we're going to put the chicken on top. Spread out evenly. I just cut up the chicken with my fingers into, you know, edible sized pieces. Put it on top like that. Again, you can keep this vegetarian. You can use vegetable broth and not use any meat instead. It's all depends on your liking. Just like that. We're going to get the nuts. I'm going to put the nuts on top like this. And they add such pretty colors. All the flavors of the dish. There's so many different dynamics of all the flavors. The sweetness from the raisins, the tomatoes, the onions, the nuts. You can use any kind of nuts that you like. And if you're allergic to nuts, you don't have to use nuts at all. But they do add wonderful flavor to this dish. I want to make sure I get them all. The butter is amazing. So just like that, I'm going to give this a taste because I cannot wait any longer. It's hot, but it's so good. Serve it with yogurt. Yogurt cools the dish down. It's great because it has some acidity in it. It's wonderful. This is our Kabseh dish. Enjoy it. Love it. Your family's going to love it. It's a great dish all by itself. Join me again for DeDe's Mediterranean Kitchen. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if you have any recipes you want to share, email me, let me know, and I will see you again.